Hi all, welcome to the exam empowerment session where we analyze CET 103. So the idea is to understand what to follow during mock CET. Now let's get on with the session over here. So coming to CET 103, uh, this is a mock which is exactly of the pattern of CET. Now I have taken the questions, especially the quant questions of the mock, and we will see how to go about it. Before which, let's make a small action plan on what to do. This is something I would recommend that you all do. Let's say 5 minutes before the exam. So here is the action plan. You all know the pattern of the CET, which has 50 questions in quantitative ability, 25 in abstract reasoning, the AR section as we call it, 75 questions in logical reasoning, and 50 questions in verbal ability and RC. Now, you know that you have a total of 150 minutes for this, 2.5 hours or 150 minutes. So, my recommendation or one of the strategies that I try to follow and I advise the students is split your 150 minutes as the first phase of 30 minutes, then the second phase of 60 minutes. If you notice, these two add up to 90 minutes so far, and then a third phase of around 45 minutes, maybe 40 to 45, you can judge that. And the last or the fourth phase, which will be around 15 or a maximum of 20 minutes. So this is the time you need to take in minutes for each of the phases. So my recommendation is make it four phases, the first, second, third, and fourth, adding up to 150 minutes totally. That's 2.5 hours at a stretch with 30, 60, 45, and 15. Now, the main idea behind making your entire exam into four phases is you can mentally prepare yourself for these phases and decide what kind of questions you solve. So, how to maximize your skill and your knowledge with question answering. Now, coming to the expected number of questions that you can solve. Again, these are approximate number. A back and forth of 5 questions, give or take 5 questions on each of the phases is completely understandable. So the first 30 minutes, that is your fastest pace, you have to consider at least 30 questions, if possible, a little more than that. Even somewhere around 35 will be great. So here is where you choose only the questions that you can solve somewhere in 30 to 45 seconds. You should try to solve in 30 to 45 seconds. If it takes a little more, but if it still remains within a minute, that is okay. Now, any question that you cannot solve in 30 to 45 seconds, you have to skip and say this question goes to phase 2 or phase 3. I hope I have made that clear now. Now, the next phase of 60 minutes, the number of questions you can target is close to 55 questions. Okay. Now, the idea behind that is around 30 of the easiest questions of the question paper are already gone. Now the questions are slightly on the moderate side, which is why you may not be able to solve every question in 1 minute. Some questions may take a few more seconds. So here I would say try to solve a question in somewhere between 50 to 60 seconds, 50 seconds to 1 minute. And then coming to the third phase, which is where your maximizing phase is more or less over, and we are trying to uh, still attempt the questions that you are fairly sure of. Now, the third phase of 45 minutes, please understand you have already attempted close to 85 questions. So, more or less half the paper, or maybe I would say 40% of the paper is over. Out of the remaining, you are very likely to find at least a few questions quite hard. So, please ensure now you solve only the questions that you know how to solve, right? But it's okay if they take some more time. So in the third phase of 45 minutes, my recommendation would be solve around 35 questions. Now, I hope you realize over here that these three add up to around 120 questions. So here you can probably solve a question anywhere between 1 to 1.5 minutes. Realize how the first phase should solve, you should be able to solve only the questions that are the fastest for you. So understand your strengths, work towards your strengths completely. Do not waste even 5 seconds in the first 30 minutes. That would be one of the best ways to go about it. For the second phase, you already have an idea. You've already gone through a little bit of the paper. So what to do, what all questions you have already seen, what all you have already targeted. This is easy only, but it's time consuming. So I'll try later. Those are the questions you do in the second phase. And whatever spills over from there goes to the third phase. So ideally, as a well prepared candidate, you can comfortably target total of 120 questions in about 135 minutes in the first three phases together. Now, the fourth phase is your last 15 minutes, where since CET does not have negative marking, you just try to guess or make the maximum out of it. Now, the best part about this is assuming you are well prepared and assuming 120 questions in this particular first three phases are tackled well, you are almost guaranteed 110 marks, at least 110 marks, assuming your accuracy is really, really. You have a 90 plus percentage accuracy in the first three phases. That gives you 110 marks. Then you guess all the remaining questions in the last 15 minutes. If possible, if time permits, take an educated guess. Try to eliminate maybe two options and guess one. But again, you don't have a lot of time over here. So you are still going to be guessing really, really fast. So you can hardly have 15 to 20 seconds per question. But again, you are not expecting to gain a lot out of the last 15 minutes. That is only to ensure you attempt the whole thing. I believe the strategy, I believe the action plan is clear to all of you over here. Now let me see if there are any questions. And then the next plan from my end will be to take the quant section of CET 103, make a smaller first, second, and third phase for you, and show you how to maximize the number of attempts out of 50 questions in quants for a well prepared candidate. How many can you attempt in the first phase, second, and third phase? Before that, let me just get on the live chat and check if there are questions from any of you, questions that I would have to answer. Just a moment, please. Okay, students, I do not see any live messages as of now. Now, if there are questions, please put up there. But maybe now I have to go back to the test taking part. So what I will do is I'll give you my plan on the quantitative ability section. And then maybe after the first phase, I'll try to pause and I'll try to take up some questions, or I'll do three phases at once, something of that. So now, I'm roughly considering quants to take 1/4 of the entire paper, 50 questions out of a total of 200. So if it is roughly 1/4 of the entire paper, I will still keep about 1/4 of the entire time limit. But in the first phase, for quants alone, I'm saying I'm gonna keep 10 minutes and I will try to answer as many questions as I can. I'll come to the questions a little later. In the second phase, I'm going to give myself 15 minutes for the quants part alone. And in the third phase, I'm going to give myself another 10 minutes. So for quants in the first three phases, okay, I believe I would be good enough to visit all the questions and spend a total time of at least around 35 minutes. Again, give or take a few minutes here and there is completely understandable, but this is the general plan. And I don't know if luck is on my side, if I'm doing a good job. Hopefully, I will attempt somewhere between 10 to 12 questions. This is my target. And in the second phase, it's a 15-minute phase. So, assuming I may solve a maximum of 15 questions, I'll keep my target as 12 to 15. And in the third phase of 10 minutes, even if I solve around 7 or 8, I would consider it fairly successful. So in quants, in the first three phases of 35 minutes put together, my target is to solve, shall I say, around 32 to 35 questions. If I can solve 32 to 35 questions, I would consider it a huge success in quants. And this has to be extrapolated or extended to all four sections together. Please do not forget, let me repeat, this is your full action plan. Now, since I cannot take an entire mock in one live stream for you, I am doing a truncated version of that in the quantitative ability section alone for you. Now, let me start off with my quant action plan alone, which is starting with the first 10 minutes. Now, the questions that are going to appear are not going to be one after the other because there are 50 questions in quants. What I am going to do is every slide or every page as I move forward will have about three questions, more or less three questions. I will keep a 10-minute timer with myself, and in the 10-minute timer, I will target as many questions as I can. I hope we can begin in a minute now. Just a moment, I should be back and we will start off with the first phase. I hope all of you are getting ready for it. Okay, I guess we can start off now. Let me consciously make a timer for myself with exactly 10 minutes. Just to remind myself, it's 10, 15, and then 10 minutes again. Let's begin now. Okay, there are one, two, three questions as a data interpretation. The following line graph shows the sales of two products X and Y of a company over a 6 months period, January to June. First question, what is the average monthly sales? During how many months did X exceed the sale of Y by at least 10%? If in July X increases by 15%, okay, these are all easy, but I don't want them. I want only the average problem. Now, the average sales of X from Jan to June, X is in blue. So 180, 220, 210, 260, 240, and then 300. So 260, 240, 300 is 5 plus 3, 800 plus 2, 2 and 1, that's 1300, 1410. So 1410 divided by 6. I understand 141 is 3 times 47. So it's roughly 47 times 5 or 235. This is the only question I can solve so fast. So I'm moving to the next question. Okay, another three questions. Let me tackle one at a time. A trader buys 100 bulbs at 30 rupees each. 10% are defective and unsold. The rest sell at 40 each. What is the profit percentage? This is manageable. 100 bulbs at 30. So cost price is 3,000. I can multiply 130 in my mind. Quite simple. 10% defective means only 90 are sold. The rest are sold at 40 rupees each. So 90 into 40. The selling price happens to be 3,600. Now comparing 3,000 and 3,600, the profit percentage is 6 upon 30 as a percent. We know 6 by 30 is 1 by 5. 1 by 5 as a percentage is 20%. The answer is option 1. Next question. For 15,000 at 10% per annum for 2 years, what's the difference between the compound interest and the simple interest? I should know, in theory, the difference between compound and simple interest for 2 years is given by PR squared by 100 squared. Now, there is a shortcut for this. Assuming I know this, I will take this problem at the first step itself. 15,000 into 10%, 10 into 10, divided by 100 squared, 100 into 100. Cancel 4 zeros at the top, and at the bottom I get 150 as the answer, which is the third option. Sum of the percentages of A and B is 56. 4 years ago, A was twice as old. What is A? Simultaneous equations, maybe not now, a bit later, please. In triangle ABC, A and C are complementary and BD is perpendicular to AC. If I am not very comfortable with the data right now, I'm moving on. The ratio of monthly incomes of A and B is 9:7. Each of them spend 19,000 and their savings, how much? Again, looks like two variable problem, not right now. A ball is dropped from a height of 300 meters. It rebounds one third of the distance it falls, continues to fall and rebound up to one third. This process continues. No, no, no. This is, I think, infinite GP, if I'm not wrong, but not getting into it right now. Next bunch of questions, please. Two trains X and Y are traveling from A to B. Train X left the station A at 9 a.m. at some speed. Train Y 11:30 a.m. At what time? No, 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 too much work. A number when divided by 5, 7 and 10 leaves remainders 2, 4 and 7 respectively. Which of the following will be the smallest three-digit number satisfying the above condition? I can understand the link. 5 minus 3 is 2, 7 minus 3 is 4 and 10 minus 3 is 7. So the number can be written as 5x plus 2 or 7y plus 4 or 10z plus 7. Now considering 5 and 2 have a difference 3, 7 and 4, 10 all have a difference 3. I can rewrite this temporarily as 5x minus 3, 7y minus 3 and 10z minus 3. This is because of the equivalent remainder method. Now the same n can be written as LCM of 5, 7 and 10, which if you notice is 70. 70 times k minus 3. K equal to 1 gives 70 minus 3, 67. K equal to 2 gives 140 minus 3, 137. Smallest three-digit number will be 137. Took me a little extra time, but okay. Some is invested at 8% compound interest for 5 years. The difference between compound interest in the first year and the second year is 48. The sum invested is. Okay, I'm not able to process right now. I'll move on. The length and breadth of a cuboid are increased by 20 and 25% respectively. How many percent should the height be decreased so that the volume of the cube will remain constant? I know that the volume of a cube is given by L times B times H. Increased by 20% means 120 by 100 of L or effectively length becomes 6 by 5. Increased by 25% means 1/4 increase, which means the new breadth will be 5 by 4 of B. What happens to the height? Now, very simple. I know the effect of 6 by 5 into 5 by 4 is 6 by 4, or actually speaking 3 by 2. Now, how do I cancel the effect of 3 by 2? Only if I have 2 by 3 of H. So what is H has now become only 2/3 of H. So the percentage decrease is 1 by 3 into 100, which happens to be 33.3. Next problem. A tangent is drawn at point A on a circle with 12.5 from an external point. No, no, no. A lot of information. Maybe not right now, please. Next question. 11 pencils, 11 pens, 8 pencils, and 20 erasers cost 40. If the cost of 2 pencils and 5 erasers is 0.5, it's a cost of 27 pence. Okay, pens is asked, pencils, erasers are given. So 2, 5, 8, 20. That makes me understand multiplying by 4 makes it 8 pencils, 20 erasers will be 4.5 into 4, 18 rupees. So this total portion is 18 rupees. The total is 40. 40 minus 18, I have to take 18 to the other side. I will eventually get 11 pence cost 22 rupees. So if this is extended to 27 pence, I know 1 pen is 2 rupees. So 54, 27 into 54 will be the right answer. I guess I'll move to the next bunch of questions. Namgar is a small town having some population. Information ratios, gender, literacy, age. No, 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 not right now. Sorry, not getting into this. Two towns are 90 km apart. A starts from town 1 at 30. 1 hour later, B starts. No, 1 hour later and all I don't want to do. What is the probability of a 53rd Wednesday in a leap year? Leap year means 366 days, which is 52 weeks, 52 into 7, plus 2 extra days, plus 2 odd days. So 52 weeks will anyway have 52 of all of those. So if the very first day of the year or the second day of the year happens to be a Wednesday, then either this or this will be the extra Wednesday. So to start with either Tuesday or Wednesday, the probability is 2 by 7. That would be the right answer. Coming to the next one. A dishonest dealer uses 900-gram weights but sells at the cost price per kg. What is his actual gain percentage? So assuming 1 gram is 1 rupee or something like that. Now, to use 900 gram, the dealer's cost price is only 900 rupees because 1 gram per kg, 1 rupee per gram. But the selling price, people will think it is 1 kg. People do not know that this dealer is using 900 gram. So selling price is 1000 rupees. Now CP to SP is 900 to 1000. So the actual gain percent is 100 out of 900 as a percentage, 1 by 9 as a percent, which is 11.1. That's option 1. Let me go to the next question. 4 cities are located at 4 vertices of a square. I don't want to do this now. Quadratic was solved by 2 students. One of them got sum of the roots, product of the roots. Okay. I don't know. 64 liters has water and milk in the ratio 3:5. How much water should be added to make it 5:4? Maybe this I can try because 64 liters 3:5. So water and milk 3:5 means 3 by 8 of 64. That would be 24 here and 40 here. Okay, my time is up. I'll just finish this question hopefully in just a few seconds. How much water should be added to ensure the ratio becomes 5:4? So remember, this will be 40 only. What will this number become so that the ratio becomes 5:4? It's very easy. 4 goes to 40 means 5 goes to 50. Now 24 plus x has to become 50 means x is 26 liters. took me a few more seconds. So let's say I took 10.5 minutes for the first phase, as good as 10 minutes. All right. Now, our actual first phase is half an hour, but since I am choosing only the quant section, I have kept myself a deadline of 10 minutes. Now, I hope you were able to see I might not have visited all the quant questions, but I have solved a lot of questions and I have identified a few good questions which I will do for later. Right? Let's make a very quick count of how many questions I have attempted. One in this page. I'm going backwards now. Two, three totally. Nothing over here. Two more here, that's five. One over here, that's six. Nothing over here. Two more over here, that's eight. One over here, that's around nine questions. So I took 10 minutes and I solved about nine questions. And if you notice, I was also thinking out loud, talking and doing. So please remember, please understand that if I was taking the test alone, maybe I could have done one or two more questions. I believe all of you are able to understand this. Since I was talking and doing, since I was trying to explain a few things, I was trying to explain the rationale behind my thinking. It took me a few more seconds probably. I might have solved one or two more questions given the same 10 minutes. Now, let me also go to the last question I've solved. Let me make a total of how many questions I've visited. It's three in this page, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. I think that's all. So I have visited only 24 questions, and out of those, I have attempted around 9 of them. So maybe given the next 15 minutes, which is going to be my phase two, I would start with this particular page from the average score of a cricketer, and I will keep going on. Again, my aim is to maximize the number of attempts in the upcoming 15 minutes. I believe that works. Give me a minute. We'll all take a small break. I'll also see if there are any questions that I have to answer. We'll come back to that. All right, let's get into the question and answer part. Hi, we have a question from Ronak. Sir, in this test, abstract reasoning was really hard. Can you please give any strategy for that section as well? Um, we do have a couple more sessions planned this week, which one of them is just shortcuts in quantitative ability and shortcuts in reasoning. There definitely we will cover abstract reasoning as a little bit of theory, little bit of expected questions as well. In this, if you want, I can do one thing at the end of my expected run of phase 2 and phase 3. I'll just show you the questions and tell you how I might approach them given a small amount of time. I can give you a little bit of that, but again, the intention of this session is not just that. Okay. Hi. We have a question from Sahil as well, or a comment, I believe. Is QA all about creating equations, manipulating them, and repetition? Because I feel I'm using the logic to previous questions and applying the same to other questions. Hi, Sahil. One of the links is QA is very mathematical, no doubt about that. But if you had noticed, there are a few questions where I did apply some shortcuts. Maybe I didn't tell you out loud what the exact approach would be because I was focusing on solving the particular question. But the intention, if you notice, is not to only create equations and solve. Sometimes, from your experience, find out the best method. And there are a few questions which will involve shortcuts. And if that is applicable, if that comes to your mind at the right time, use that as well. So sometimes you can go from the options. So far here, I didn't get the opportunity to do that much. Given a chance, I definitely will. Okay. In the next phase and the third phase, I think you will understand a bit more about going from the options, how to focus more and maximize your output. Okay. So having said this, let me get back to the second phase of this. I'm going to set myself a timer of another 15 minutes and try to maximize my attempts. Like I said earlier, since it's only quants and since I keep myself only a 15-minute timer, the idea will be to solve somewhere between 12 to 15 questions. If I can solve more, again, very well. Okay, I am starting the timer of now. The average score of a cricketer in 15 matches is 74 runs. How many runs should he score in the next match so that his average becomes 77 runs? So it's like 74 happens 15 times. There is one more match where if it has to become 77 runs, there is a 3 run extra for all of these 15 times. So this is about 3 into 15, 45 plus this 77 should anyway exist. So 45 plus 77 comes to 122. That would be the answer. The ratio of ages of Rajni and her daughter is 8 is to 3. 5 years hence, the ratio will be 9 is to 4. What was the age of Rajni 5 years ago? Okay, today the ages are in the ratio 8 is to 3, correct? So 8x and 3x. 5 years ago would be minus 5. So let me first go from the options and find out which looks like a multiple of 8 minus 5. 35 minus 5, 30 doesn't work. 40 minus 5 looks very, very likely. 45 minus 5, 40 doesn't work. 50 minus 5 doesn't work. 55 minus 5 also doesn't work. So this is most likely the only option. What was the age of Rajni 5 years ago? Let's say that is 35. That means today Rajni will be 40. And going by the ratio 8 is to 3, the daughter must be 15. So 40 and 15 are their present ages. As per my guess, 5 years hence means these numbers will become 45 and 20, which is exactly 9 is to 4. So no doubt my option is correct. See, I didn't solve equations. I just went from the options. The side of a rhombus is 15 and one of its diagonals is 18. What is the area? I think this is fairly an easy question. If we make a quick diagram, the side is 15. If I draw the diagonals, one of the diagonals, let me assume the longer one is 18. So this would be 9 plus 9. I know by Pythagorean triplets, 3, 4, 5 is a triplet. If I triple all of them, I end up getting 9, 12, and 15. So this portion is 12. This portion is also 12. Area of the rhombus is half into product of the diagonals. Half into 18 into 24, which is 18 times 12 or 216 square centimeters. Moving on to the next questions. Pie chart shows the percentage distribution of mobile handsets sold in 6 stores in Mumbai. The number of mobile handsets sold is 12,600, and I have all fairly easy percentages. The table shows the ratio of Android to iPhones in these six stores. The ratio is 5.034. Okay, two decimals. So Android, iPhone, that is a lot of work anyway. So, okay, I will try this out. I'll try as quickly as I can. What is the average of Android phones sold by the stores A, C, and E together? No, I'm not going to do that. Ratio of number of Android phones sold by store A to the iPhones sold by store D. Okay, so 5.03 is effectively 5.03 is to 1. 5.04 is to 1. 3.01 is to 1, and so on. So, no, this is definitely not going to help. I will leave this for now at least. A is twice as efficient as B. Working together, they finish a job in 18 days. In how many days would B alone finish it? I will use the unitary method for it. B alone would do amount of work B. A will do 2B amount of work per day. Together, if they can finish the job in 18 days, one day they will do 1 by 18 of the work. So eventually 3B is 1 by 18. Dividing by 3, I get B as 1 by 54, which means 54 days. Then, how many liters of a 20% solution must be mixed with 60 liters of the 40% solution to obtain a 35% solution? Great. I mixed 20 and 40 to get 35. This is a classic allegation problem. 20, 40 are mixed to give me 35. So the ratio will be difference 5 over here and 15 over here, which is 1 is to 3. Now 60 liter of 40% solution. So this happens to be 60 liters in 1 is to 3. So this has to be 1/3, right? So the answer is 20 liters. Next question, a person must cover 60 km in 90 minutes. If they increase their speed by 10 km per hour, by how many minutes will they arrive early? Now 60 km in 90 minutes. 90 minutes is effectively 1.5 hours. So 40 km per hour is the original speed. Now if you increase the same 60 km, you come in the speed of 50 km per hour. So you will end up taking 6 by 5 hours, or effectively 72 minutes. Earlier you took 90 minutes, now you take 72 minutes, which means you save 18 minutes. That would be the answer. And moving on to the next page. Two taps can fill a water tank in 12 and 20 minutes respectively, working alone. One day when the tank was empty, both started simultaneously. After 6 minutes, tap A was turned off. How much time tap B will take to fill the remaining? Okay, so again, I'll use a unitary method. A will do 1 by 12 of the work for only 6 minutes. B has to do 1 by 20 for how long? Let's say 3 minutes to finish the total work 1. Now 6 by 12 is exactly half. So T by 20 should also be half, means T by 20 is 1 by 2, making T as a total of 10 minutes. But this includes the initial 6 minutes also. So to fill the remaining tank, B will take only 4 minutes. There are 5 black, 7 white, and 10 red balls in an urn. If 2 balls are drawn randomly, what's the probability that none of them is red? So 5, 7, 10 add up to 22, out of which 10 are red. So not red is 12. So you are drawing 2. So the first one, 12 by 22, not being red. Then 11 by 21, again not being red. So 11 times 2, 2 times 6, 3 times 2, and 3 times 7. So 2 by 7 would be the right answer. A is 50% more efficient than B. If B can finish a certain work in 30 days, then both A and B can together complete in. Okay, B can finish in 30 days. Again, unitary method. B is 1 by 30 per day. A is 50% means A is 1.5 times 1 by 30 or 3 by 2 times 1 by 30, however I call it, which is 1 by 20. Together they can complete in 1 by 20 plus 1 by 30. If I take the LCM as 60, I think I would do 3 plus 2, 5 by 60 or 1 by 12, so together 12 days. Problem solved. Moving on to the next question. Amrita wants to buy some cups and some dishes. If she buys 6 cups and 11 dishes, she will have to pay 90. A set of 8 and 7 will cost 74. What will be the cost of 3 cups and 3 dishes? Let me see if I can solve equations. Looks a bit harder. 6 cups, 11 dishes, 90. 8 cups, 7 dishes will cost 74. Can I take somewhat of an educated guess? Doesn't look easy as of now. So I guess I'll leave this for now. On a sheet of paper, 13 distinct points are plotted, 4 are collinear. How many distinct straight lines can be drawn through these 13 points? Okay, 13 points. If you have to draw a straight line, that's 13C2 total. 4 of them are collinear, so minus 4C2 within those 4. But those 4, you cannot remove all of them. You have to add 1 back. So the exact number of straight lines is 13C2 minus 4C2 plus 1. This can actually be known as a shortcut itself. Anyway, let's get to solving. 13 into 12 by 2 into 1 minus 4 into 3 by 2 into 1. Again, I assume NC2 is doable for all of this. Plus 1. So this would be 78 minus 6. 72 plus 1. 73 would be the right answer. Vessels A and B have a mixture of milk and water. The ratios of milk to water in vessel A and vessel B are 3:5 and 7:4 respectively. In what ratio should the mixtures from vessel A and B be mixed so that the resultant will have 1:1? Now 3:5 is a total of 8 parts. 7:4 is a total of 11 parts. So let me make it an LCM 88. This is a total of 8. This is a total of 11. So if I always take a total of 88, initially 3:5 for 88 would be 33 and 55. 7:4 on 88 would be 56 and 32. So how do I mix 33 and 56? Now if 88 has to become 1:1, that would be exactly 44. I think the problem is solved by allegations. The difference on 56:44 is 12, 33:44 is 11. So the answer is 12:11. Next question. In the year 2025, states of Eastern India, okay. Commercial crops, rice, wheat. No way, no way. Sorry, I am not doing this for now. Maybe a little later, please. Okay, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions. Definitely worth a solve, but maybe a bit later. In triangle ABC, D is the midpoint of side AB and E divides AC in the ratio 3:1 as shown in the figure. If the area of AED is 36, what's the area of ABC? Okay, great. This area is 36. Now I know that for the same base, I have a 3:1 split. So the area also within ACD would be a 3:1 split. So this area will be 12. That is CED will be 12. They have also given D is the midpoint. If D is the midpoint, CD is the median, which has two equal areas on both sides. So 36 plus 12 is 48, means this entire area is 48. Area of ABC is as 96. Next question. Sandhya and Lata together can finish a job in 24 days. If Lata performs half the job alone and the rest is done by Sandhya alone, the total number of days required to finish the job is 54 days. X is the number of takes Lata alone, Y is the number of takes Sandhya alone. No, not now. X is the number of ways 10 distinct books can be distributed among the two students such that each student receives at least one book? Why is the number of A's 10 identical books among two students such that each student receives at least one book? Okay, this is doable. If it's 10 distinct books, first book can be distributed in two ways, second book two ways, like this, so on, so on, so on, 10 times. But this would be 2 power 10 minus each student should receive one book. So don't give everything to one or don't give everything to two. So it's close to 2 power 10. Why is 10 identical books to two students? So it is either 1 plus 9 or 2 plus 8. So that's going to be hardly 9 pages. So 2 power 10 is way bigger than 9, x greater than 1. Sorry. A team of 10 students had just enough supplies for 15 days. The average consumption of supplies per student per day is X. Now the team strength has increased by 10%. The duration, okay, that is a lot of content for now. Average consumption of supplies is Y. Okay, I don't know. Too much data for now. X is the remainder when 29 power 37 is divided by 13. Y is the remainder when 37 power 29 is divided by 13. Find out both remainders. So I have to use remainder theorem or some remainder concept that I am aware of. Let me get to that a bit later, maybe again. Okay, we are done with the quant section. I don't know how much time I have left. When the timer goes off, we'll stop, but I'll go back and see if there is any easy question I can do, or maybe I'll start off again. During how many months did the sale of product X exceed the sale of product Y by at least 10%? I think this is doable if you ask me. Product Y by at least 10%. 180, 200 is a yes. 190 to 20 is also a yes. Okay, I think time is up. Time is up. I'll stop. I'll stop this problem also. All right, phase two is complete now. I think I have taken about exactly 15 minutes. Let me, I think I did the rest of the paper. If I'm not wrong, I did the remaining 26 questions or something. I think till this was phase one. Let me count the number of questions I have solved in phase two for 15 minutes. 3 over here, nothing from here. Another 3 over here, that makes it 6. Another 3 over here, that makes it 9. 2 more over here, that's 11. Nothing here, nothing here. 1 over here, that's 12. 1 more over here, that's 13. And then we go to abstract reasoning. So 13 attempts in 15 minutes. So if I go back, I had targeted 10 to 12 questions in the first phase. This I was not able to achieve, but I came to 9 questions. And here I targeted 12 to 15 questions, out of which I did solve 13 questions. So we have solved a total of 22 quant questions as of now, spending only 25 minutes of them. So now I believe you understand that this is doable. One, if you're well prepared, if you identify the right questions, and beyond reading time, you make a very quick judgment, a good judgment, and leave questions bravely. Now, this is one of the most important strategies you have to start using in high-speed exams. CET is a very, very high-speed exam because you know very well 200 questions in not even 200 minutes, right? It's only 150 minutes. So roughly you have 45 seconds per question, right? So considering all of that, it's a very high speed exam. So you have to learn to leave questions that are not striking you at that moment. Doesn't mean you don't know the question, doesn't mean you will not come. So please learn the art of leaving questions correctly. That was one of the biggest lessons I wanted to tell you in both the first and the second phases. So now if you ask me, I would easily try and solve 7 or 8 more questions in the next 10 minutes. which is doable because I'm only going to be a bit slower. I am a bit more, I will be a bit more relaxed. Give me another 10 more minutes. If I solve 7 or 8 more questions in 35 minutes, maybe if I don't achieve 32 or 35, even if I solve 30 questions, that's pretty good. I am pretty much on track to achieving this number in the overall scenario. 35 minutes and 30 questions. I will easily give another 35 minutes for verbal ability, trying to solve another 30 questions, and maybe about 1 hour for logical and abstract reasoning, trying to solve another 50, 60 questions. Again, choosing only the easiest, following a strategy that's almost exactly like this. So I hope you all understand how to execute phase one and phase two, how to make a plan and as much as possible try to execute it. The idea, like I already said, keep switching from question to question as soon as possible. Okay, make a good decision. It is okay if you want to skip, because the faster you are, if you do not waste time, you will definitely get time to come back to that question, even in a high speed exam. Okay, so that is the one learning I want you all to take up. Now let me check out if there are any doubts, if there are anything that if there is anything I can address. As of now, I don't see doubts, which is fine. So we will take again 1 or 2 minutes, please, and then go back to phase three as well. Okay, let's get on with the question now. So here is my action plan for the next 10 minutes. I am going to set a timer for 10 minutes exactly. I haven't yet started it. Let me roughly mentally get myself ready. 10 minutes. Now I know that I have already exhausted many of the easy questions to be very, very more or less 40-45% of the quant section is over. So in this phase of 10 minutes, my attempt, I'll be really happy if I can solve somewhere around 7 to 8 questions, even if it's 1 or 2 less, even if I end up at, let's say, 5 or 6 questions, I'll still be a happy person at the end of it. Okay. So now I have to be a little more vigilant about whether or not I can solve the question. Now I am not looking for shortcuts anymore. Okay. Because all the easy questions are over. Only the harder questions, only the questions that I have left because they are calculative, only such questions are remaining. So I will choose some sure short questions and try to solve them. Let's see how much I can maximize in the upcoming 10 minutes. So we are getting into the third phase of 10 minutes. Let's see how it goes. And the timer is starting now. Okay, I was anyway midway over here. During how many months did the sale of product X exceed the sale of product Y by at least 10%? 180 to 200, 20 out of 180 is a yes. Oh no, sorry. I think X is smaller here, so January is a no. I'm sorry, I think I made a mistake earlier. X should be higher than Y, only then it counts. So Feb, yes. 190 to 220, definitely yes. March, no. April, this easily looks 210 to 260 or something is more than 10%. Yes. This one, no. 280 to 300, unfortunately, it is not 10%. So here also, no. So only two times. If in July X increases by 15% and Y decreases by 10%, what is the ratio of X to Y in July? This is doable because X in June is 300. So 300 increases by 15%. I know 15% of 300 is 45. So X is 345. Y decreases by 10%. Y is already at 280. 280 minus 10% means subtract 28 only. I think I'll get 252. 345 is to 252. I think divide both by 3. 115 is to 84. I cannot cancel any further. So the answer is 115 is to 84. Let me just make a note of how many new questions I'm solving in each page. So I'll have a count. Already two are done. Sum of percentages of A and B is 56. 4 years ago, A was twice as old as B. What is A's percentage? Okay, simple. Currently, if the sum of their ages is 56, 4 years ago means both of them I should subtract 4, subtract 4. That time the sum should have been only 48. In this situation, the sum should have been only 48. 48 is twice as old. A is twice as old as B means very easy. B was 16, A was 32. This was 4 years ago. So today A's present age is 36. If I had paused and done a little bit, maybe I could have done this question earlier. But anyway, I'm happy I had enough time and the calm and composure to get to it now. So one question in this page. Okay, this has three questions. I might try something. In triangle ABC, A and C are complementary angles. Means add up to 90. So B alone is 90 for sure. And BD is perpendicular to AC. If AB is 6, BC is 8, then what is BD? I think I might be able to solve this. Let's see. Because it's a right angle triangle, Pythagoras, there is some scope. So BAC, let's assume. AB is 6, BC is 8. Okay, I know 3, 4, 5 triplet, so AC has to be 10. BD is perpendicular to AC. That means here is D. Okay, what is BD is the question. Great. I know that the area of the triangle is half into 8 into 6 with the normal triangle. But if I take it with the hypotenuse, it is also half into 10 into BD. Okay, problem solved. Cancel the halves. 8 into 6, 48 divided by 10. 4.8 is BD. Problem solved actually. The ratio of the monthly incomes of A and B is 9.7. Each of them spend 19,000 in a month and their savings are in the ratio 4 is to 1. How much does B earn in a month? So income they want. Okay, let's see. Income, expenditure, savings. I will not start with 9 is to 7 because it's a bit harder. Savings are in the ratio 4 is to 1. So savings are 4x and x. And if they both spend exactly 19,000 in a month, so that's easy now. 4x plus 19,000 by 1x plus 19,000. This happens to be 9 is to 7. So 28x, 9x. So this side will be 19x. 19 into 7, 19 into 9. So that would be 19,000 into 2. So x is 2,000 effectively. So if x is 2,000, how much does B earn? So that would be x plus 19,000. 2 plus 19,000 is 21,000. That should be the right answer. A ball is dropped from a height of 300 meter. It rebounds one-third of the distance it falls. It continues to fall and rebounds up to one-third it falls. I roughly understand it, but I don't know. I'll probably look for better questions. Come back only if really necessary. Two trains are traveling from A and B. A left at 9 a.m. at 1:20. train Y left station A at 11:30 at 1:50. At what time will they meet if the distance between the two stations is 2160 kilometers? Okay. So 120 kilometers, 9 a.m., 11:30 a.m. effectively means 2.5 hours at 120 kilometer per hour. 120 to 40, then another half of that. So 300 kilometer. So out of 2160, already at 300, train X is gone. This is at 0. So here is train X, here is train Y. So 300 kilometer to cover at a relative speed of 150 minus 120. So 300 by 30, or effectively 10 hours. So 10 hours after 11:30 a.m. So that would be 9:30 p.m. Sum is invested at compound interest 8% for 5 years. The difference between compound interest earned in the first year and in the second year is 48 rupees. Okay, so let me see. Principal. Principal becomes 1.08 principal. Then this becomes 1.08 into 1.08 into principal. Now the interest in the first year is 8 by 100 of the principal. Now the gap between these two is 8 by 100 of 1.08 times the principal, I believe. Yes, exactly. Now this difference is 48. Now the difference between these two is effectively, if I take 8 by 100 p common, it's 1.08 minus 1. So another 8 by 100. Now if this happens to be 48, what is the sum invested is the question. 8 times 6 over here. Now this would be 3 and this would be 4. I think I'll make it 25. So 3 into 25 into 100. So 7,500. That's all. I believe I solved 2 questions over here. Okay, satisfying. The tangent is drawn at point A on a circle with this. Maybe not very comfortable. I'm sorry, geometry is not my uh, first priority at any point. Ramgarh is a small town having a population. It is very tempting. I don't know how much time I've got left, but I'll see. Gender literacy, this. No, this is a lot of information anyway. Maybe not now, a little later. Two towns are 90 kilometers apart. A starts from town 1 at 30. 1 hour later, B starts from town 2 at 45. How far from town 1 do they meet? Okay, town 1, town 2. A starts at 30. 1 hour later means that 30 is cut off. So now they are only 60 kilometers apart. Now one guy goes at 30, the other guy goes at 45. So the time they take will be 60 divided by relative speed 75, which is 4 by 5 hours, or 4 by 5 into 60, which is, or I'll just keep it as 4 by 5 hours. So in another 4 by 5 hours, how much will A cover? A's distance would be 4 by 5 of 30 kilometer per hour, which is, I believe, 24 kilometers. So another 24 over here cut down. So how far from town 1 do they meet? 54 kilometers. That's one more question in this page. 4 cities, A and B. Okay, maybe not. So now quadratic equation was solved by 2 students. One of them got sum of the roots as 7 and the product of the roots as minus 12. I know this. Okay, time is up technically. Let me just finish this problem as just for my satisfaction. Sum of the roots 7 minus and product of the roots minus 12. So x squared minus 7x minus 12 equal to 0. But he had taken the constant term incorrectly. Another student got sum of the roots as 9, product as minus 18. X squared minus 9x minus 18 equal to 0. but he had taken the coefficient of x incorrectly. What was the equation? I think combining these two, I can figure out. X squared minus 7x minus 18 equals 0 would be the answer. I will not count. I will not count this as I have solved it within my phase 3 time frame. But yes, it took what? Another 30, 45 seconds or so. So yes, phase 3 is also over. Let me go back and make a quick count of how many extra questions I solved in each page. I think I have to go back. One, nothing over here, nothing over here. Two more, so that makes it three. Another two here, that's five. One over here, that's six. Two more over here, that's eight. Okay, great. So yes, I think I did achieve my target in phase 3 also. That's another eight. So yes, to be very precise, I have taken the 35 minutes of quants that I had planned and solved 30 questions. I'm really, really hoping all these answers are right. Maybe one wrong or so is forgivable. Okay, because these are questions that I'm very, very thorough with. So I hope you all understand how to make an action plan and execute it based on an exam. Here we are specifically discussing CET only. So the bigger picture is the action plan I am recommending involving all the sections. Now, you can customize it to your needs, but one of my recommendations would be this, and how to execute it in one section at a smaller level was what we have attempted to do. I hope the session was useful. We are also planning some more strategy sessions, such as um, shortcuts in QA and shortcuts in reasoning, which will happen over the next few days. Now, is there any other question? Let me look for doubts or any chat messages. Maybe I'll stay online for another 1 or 2 minutes to see if there are doubts from any of you. And if not, I think we will wind up with this. All right, I don't see any doubts from any of you. So let us wind up with this. Wish you all the best with your preparation of CET students. See you all soon. Bye bye.